Frank Chin was born in Berkeley, California. At 6 his mother brought him back to the San Francisco Bay Area to live in Oakland, Chinatown. He attended college at the University of California, Berkeley. He received an American Book Award in 1989 for a collection of short stories, and another in 2000 for Lifetime Achievement. He currently resides in Los Angeles, California. Chin is considered to be one of the pioneers in Asian American theater and also the author of a collection of short stories. He founded the Asian American Theater Workshop, which became the Asian American Theater Company in 1973. He is a founding director of the Combined Asian American Resources Project, co-editor of AIIIEEE 1975, and Donali Duck, 1991. He first gained notoriety as a playwright in the 1970s. His play The Chicken Coop Chinaman was the first by an Asian American to be produced on a major New York stage. Plot summary. The plot deals with a 12-year-old boy named Donald Duck, dealing with understanding and accepting his Chinese heritage. He is the son of a Chinese chef father named King Duck, and a Chinese mother named Daisy Duck. Donald has two older twin sisters named Penelope and Venus Duck. From the start of the book we are told how embarrassed Donald is of his name and of being introduced with his family. He is American-born but has trouble finding the balance between accepting the American lifestyle and incorporating his Chinese heritage. Donald feels that his family completely oppresses American culture and he finds that ironic because they are living in America. He wants to be American and ignore his Chinese ethnicity. He often feels that Americans are prejudiced against Chinese, and since he was born in America, Donald feels he is American and therefore must reject the Chinese also. Donald Duck's father, King, feels Donald dreams too much in black and white, wanting to become as American as possible. Donald is ashamed of the way his family rejects American culture and that even when they watch television they make everybody on the TV look Chinese. Donald does not want to be like them. He considers himself American because he was born in America. Donald's father tells him, "I think Donald Duck may be the very last American-born Chinese-American boy to believe you have to give up being Chinese to be an American." As Donald and his family welcome the Chinese New Year, Donald's best friend, Arnold Azalea, stays over at Donald's home in Chinatown in order to observe Chinese culture and celebrate the New Year. On the first day of the New Year, Donald's family begins to talk about Chinese immigrants working on the Central Pacific Railroad end of the Transcontinental Railroad. Donald begins to have dreams of being a part of the Chinese men that built that railroad. Every night he dreams of the days getting closer to the Chinese men finishing and ending up at Promontory Summit. As these dreams progress, he is inspired to research the work the Chinese immigrants put into this track laying and found no credit had been given to the Chinese immigrants in American history books. Suddenly Donald finds himself claiming that white people are racists. Upon reaching this conclusion, King tells his son that not all white people are racist and that up to that point, Donald was the one that was ashamed of who he was. Donald realizes he can be American-born and be influenced by his Chinese heritage.
Setting. The novel is set in Chinatown in the city of San Francisco. The locations Donald visits in the book, such as his father's Chinese restaurant, his home, Larry Louie's dance studio, the Frog Twins' home, are all set in Chinatown. The time period in the novel appears to be in the present time the novel was originally written, which was 1991. This appears evident because the narrator often makes references to famous stars of the 1930s and 1940s, to films, and to publications. The narrator seems to make these references from a modern present-day point of view.
Major themes. Concept of identity. This story deals with the issue of cultural identity. Donald Duck is ashamed of being Chinese and ridicules a lot of things about his culture in the beginning of the novel. As the novel progresses, however, he begins to accept who he is and embrace his culture. Concept of racism. This novel also deals with the issues with racism. As Donald Duck accepts his culture more and more, he begins to see the racism around him more and more. He sees the racism in school with the way his teacher, Mr. Meanwright, portrays Asians as passive and non-competitive. He sees it in the country's history, which doesn't acknowledge the help of Chinese workers to build the Central Pacific Railroad. He also sees it in himself. What's wrong with racists, anyway? Mom asks. We have been living with them for over 100 years now, and we get along with them fine. p. 150. As time moves on, this consciousness of racism allows him to appreciate the famous figures who tried to change this view, and he learns to be proud of who he is.
"私は何をしてたでしょうか」「平凡だけど誰かを愛し」「普通の暮らししてたでしょうか」「時の